Hello everybody, I would like to welcome you to our 23rd video in the pre-algebra playlist, and in this video we're going to go over the concept of solving decimal equations involving multiplication and division. Now this will be a rather short video because the whole concept of solving equations has been covered thoroughly in the previous videos, so the concept remains the same, it's the numbers that are different, so we won't spend a lot of time in this video. So let's just get straight to the example. So let's say I have something such as 0.82x plus 1 equals 2.64. In this case, what we need to do first is to realize that we're solving an equation, and basically, when you solve an equation, you're trying to isolate the variable that you're solving for all by itself on one side of the equation. So in this case, I'm trying to isolate the variable x all by itself. And in order to do that, I need to follow the reverse order of PEMDAS, better known as SAD-map. Now referring to SAD-map, I know that I have the multiplication of the number 0.82 and the variable x. So in order to isolate the variable, I need to start off by looking at the SAD-map and realize if there is any subtraction that I need to get rid of. In this case, I don't have any subtraction over here. Now moving on, I realize that I am adding, however, the term 1 over here. So I do have addition over here that I need to get rid of. So I need to get rid of this plus 1 term over here and somehow safely move it to the other side of this equation. And in order to do that, I need to perform the appropriate inverse operation and subtract 1 from both sides of this equation. Now when I have 0.82x plus 1 minus 1, these two terms cancel each other out to give me a plus 0, or simply the term 0.82x. On the other side, when I subtract 1 from the number 2.64, I will be left with the number 1.64. Now the next thing that I need to do is refer back to SAD-map and realize if there is any division that I need to get rid of. In this case, there is no division because I'm multiplying 0.82 and the variable x. Therefore, I do have some multiplication that I need to get rid of. So, in order to get rid of 0.82 as the coefficient of the variable x, I need to divide both sides of this equation by the number 0.82. Now, when I do 0.82x divided by 0.82, these two 0.82's will cancel each other out to give me a 1 as the coefficient of the variable x. So now I have the variable x all by itself. On the other hand, I have 1.64 divided by 0.82. Now I leave it up to you to verify this, but when you divide 1.64 by the number 0.82, you will get 2. In this example over here, let's say I have something such as 2k divided by 1.96 equals 98. Now the first thing that I can do is simply write down the SAD-map right over here to help me throughout this problem. Referring to SAD-map, I realize that I don't have any subtraction or addition, so I can move on to division and multiplication. On the side of the variable, I do indeed have division. In this case, I'm dividing the variable k by the number 1.96. Therefore, I need to perform the appropriate inverse operation that will allow me to get rid of the number below the fraction bar, which is better known as a denominator. And in order to get rid of the denominator, you need to multiply both sides of this equation by the denominator itself. Now when I simplify the left-hand side of this equation, the 1.96 on the top cancels out with the 1.96 on the bottom to simply give me a 1. So now I'm only left with 2k on the left-hand side of this equation. And then on the right hand side, I still have 98 times 1.96. Now I leave it up to you to verify this, but 98 times 1.96 will give me 192.08 on the right hand side of this equation. The next thing that I need to do is refer back to SAD-map and realize that I have a multiplication involved over here. In this case, I'm multiplying the number 2 by the variable k. And in order to get rid of the number 2 and give me a 1 as a coefficient for the variable k, I need to perform the appropriate inverse operation of dividing both sides of this equation by the coefficient, which is the number 2. When I further simplify the left-hand side of this equation, I'll be left with only the variable k. Then, when I simplify the right-hand side of this equation, 192.08 divided by 2 will give me a final answer of 96.04. So the solution to the equation 2k divided by 1.96 equals 98 is 96.04. So in this problem over here, I have that if Andres has a Cadillac that can contain 21 gallons of gas in it, assuming that there is no gas in the Cadillac right now, can he get a full tank if he fills it with $30 at a price of $2.67 per gallon? Now, if you think about this problem, the answer will be no if $30 buys him less than 21 gallons of gas. On the other hand, the answer will be yes if the $30 buys him more than 21 gallons of gas. So what we really need to do is figure out how many gallons of gas will these $30 buy him. So now let's think about how we would set up this problem. Now, in order to figure out how many gallons of gas you can buy, all you really need to do is divide the amount of money that you have by the price of the gallon of gas. So in this case, if 30 divided by 2.67 equals a number that is less than 21, the answer will be no, because Andres will not be able to get a full tank of gas. On the other hand, if 30 divided by 2.67 yields a number that is greater than 21, Andres will be able to get a full tank of gas. Now, if you think about this problem, you really don't need a calculator or do long division to figure out the answer. 2.67 is a number that is closer to 3 than it is to 2. Now, when you divide an integer by an integer, you can get a good estimate of the answer. So, we can pretty much round up, or basically pretend that we don't have a 2.67 over here, but we have the next biggest integer. In this case, we know that the number 2.67 is a number that is somewhere in between the integer 2 and the integer 3. If you think about it, 2.67 is somewhat more closer to the integer 3 than it is to the integer 2. Therefore, we can simply predict the answer by pretending that we're not dealing with the number 2.67, but we're dealing with the next biggest integer. In this case, that is the integer 3. And when I do 30 divided by 3, that is an easy problem to evaluate because that gives me a whole integer of 10. So I know that with $2.67 per gallon as the price of gas and having $30 to spend, Andres will be able to buy about 10 gallons of gas. It's not exactly 10 gallons, he'll be able to buy a little bit more than that, but it won't be anywhere near the 21 gallons that his Cadillac can contain. So in this case, since 10 is much smaller than the number 21, Andres will not be able to get a full tank of gas if he fills it with $30 at a price of $2.67 per gallon. So that's it for this video, and I hope you keep on working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.